Confidence isn't magic. It's repetition under pressure until your brain has no choice but to trust your body. Gordon Ryan. That line captures what this course is built around. Because Gordon does not treat confidence as something you hope for or talk yourself into with positive words. He treats it as the natural result of training that is repeated in hard positions until your body learns to trust itself without hesitation. The Sport of Kings is Gordon Ryan's high-performance mindset course on BJJ Fanatics, and it costs $150. In this review, I will explain exactly what you learn inside, how it can help you, whether you are a hobbyist, rolling a few nights a week, or a competitor preparing for major events, how simple it is to follow even if you are new to Jiu-Jitsu. And at the end, I will give you a clear rating for both groups, so you know if it is worth that price. Gordon's approach is not empty motivation. It is a set of habits that shape how you use your time, how you set your goals, how you choose your training partners, and how you prepare so that what you do in practice is the same as what you can do when there is pressure. He explains how to handle losing rounds in a way that builds you instead of breaking you, how to design a basic game plan from what opponents really do, how to use tape study with purpose, and how to keep your mind steady when nerves show up. When you watch Gordon compete, you are not only seeing sharp technique, you are seeing the result of structure and routine. He maps his training week. He picks partners with intention. He studies tape in detail. He pays attention to recovery. And he repeats simple mental rules until they are automatic. Nothing is random, and this system is what the course reveals. The question is simple. Is it worth $150 to learn that system? Chapter 1. The Origin of Supreme Confidence. Confidence does not fall from the sky, and it is not something you wake up with on the day of an important event. Confidence is built slowly, through proof. Proof that you can face difficulty, stay calm, and come out the other side. Every time you step into a hard situation and survive it, you leave a mark in your memory. Later, when pressure shows up, your mind goes back to those memories and says, I've been here before. I can handle this. That is why Gordon explains that true confidence often begins with defense. If you know you can survive, if you know you are hard to break, then you cannot be shaken as easily. This does not mean avoiding hard moments. It means walking into them on purpose. You put yourself in spots that are uncomfortable. You let people test you. At first, it feels stressful. Your heart races. You want to quit. But the more often you return to those moments, the less scary they become. What once felt impossible becomes normal. After you learn to stay calm under pressure, the next step is simple offense. Doing something so many times that it feels automatic. It could be a move, a reaction, or just a simple decision you make when things heat up. The point is not to have 100 different tricks. The point is to have a few things you trust completely. When you know you can rely on them, your confidence grows naturally. Confidence is also about keeping track of your progress. Most people forget how far they've come, and doubt fills that empty space. Gordon suggests something simple. Pay attention to what you are improving. Write it down. Notice if you lasted longer in a hard round. Notice if you stayed calm when you usually panicked. Notice if something that once drained you now feels easier. These small notes are more powerful than feelings, because feelings change, but written proof reminds you of steady progress. Another key is focus. If you try to fix everything at once, you end up fixing nothing. Instead, choose one thing, practice it, and give it time. Even if you train only a few hours a week, this kind of focus makes confidence grow. A single hour with purpose beats many hours without direction. Your body language also matters. The way you breathe, the way you hold yourself, the way you look at the moment in front of you, these are signals to your mind. If you can stay steady in your breathing and posture, your thoughts will follow. Confidence is not about never feeling nerves. It is about showing your body and mind again and again that you are safe, that you are in control and that you have choices. The stories you tell yourself matter too, but Gordon warns against long speeches in your head. Instead, use short reminders that point you forward. Simple cues. Stay calm. Hands first. Breathe. These are not words to pump you up. They are small lights that guide you through the storm without distraction. Finally, confidence comes from honesty. You must look at the truth of what you do, not what you imagine. That is why studying yourself is important. See what you actually do well. See what you struggle with. Be honest about both, and then decide what to work on. The daily loop that Gordon describes is simple but powerful. Pick one focus for the day. Step into the fire where that focus lives. Do the work. Write down what happened. Choose one adjustment for tomorrow. Repeat. If you can keep this loop going, even for a short time, you will notice a change. Keep it going for a season, and other people will notice the change in you. They will say you look calm under pressure, as if you were born that way. But you will know the truth. You simply practice being calm more often than they practice being nervous. Confidence is not a gift. It is not a mystery. It is the result of showing up, choosing challenges, learning from them, and returning the next day with one small step forward. That is the origin of supreme confidence, and it is the first lesson Gordon wants you to understand. Chapter 2. Time, Goals, and Scheduling. Confidence alone is not enough. You also need direction. Gordon often explains that time is the one resource you can never get back, and how you use it determines whether you improve slowly, quickly, or not at all. Most people enter the gym, train hard, sweat a lot, and leave believing they got better. But without clear goals, the work often scatters like sand through your fingers. Hours pass, weeks pass, years pass, and nothing truly changes. That is why he draws a line between short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals give you a target for today, something you can measure and feel. Long-term goals give you a direction for the future, something to build toward over months or years. If you only think about the long term, you will feel lost and overwhelmed. If you only think about the short term, you may improve quickly but in circles, with no bigger vision guiding you. Confidence grows best when both are present. Short-term goals can be very simple. Show up to every session this week. Stay calm when you feel tired. Practice one skill for 15 minutes before leaving. These are the kind of goals that bring a quick win and show you progress in real time. Long-term goals reach further. Win your next competition, earn your next belt. Build a skill set that will still work 10 years from now. They do not happen in a week, but the short-term goals are the steps that take you there. Scheduling ties this all together. Many people wait for free time to appear, but free time almost never comes. Life fills with distractions, excuses, and small urgencies. Gordon reminds us that you must build your schedule with intention. Even hobbyists who only train a few hours a week can create a rhythm that feels steady. Maybe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe it's 2 evenings and 1 Saturday morning. Once you decide, you treat those hours as fixed, not optional, not negotiable. This rhythm is important because the body and mind both thrive on patterns. When your training time is scattered, every session feels like starting over. When it is consistent, each session feels like a continuation, part of a story that is already unfolding. Momentum replaces hesitation, and progress begins to snowball. The idea of taking the extra step also belongs here. Most people stop when the round ends or when the timer rings. Gordon teaches that one extra rep, one extra detail, one extra question to a coach can add up over time. These extra steps are small in the moment, but huge over the course of months. They are the difference between being the same person next year or being unrecognizable in your growth. Time is limited, but how you use it changes everything. Clear goals keep you moving in the right direction. Scheduling locks the habit in place. Extra steps make sure you never coast. If you treat time with respect, progress becomes natural. If you waste it, confidence slips away, because deep down, you know you are not building the proof you need. Chapter 3. Building the room. Where you train and who you train with will shape you more than almost anything else. Gordon makes this clear. You cannot grow in the wrong environment, and you cannot sharpen yourself if the people around you are pulling in the opposite direction. Many students choose a gym only because it is close to home, but the truth is that the culture of that room matters far more than the distance you drive. For hobbyists, the right room is one where you feel welcome, where safety is valued, and where teaching is consistent. You do not need the toughest fighters in the world to enjoy progress. What you need is a place that makes you want to come back 3 times a week, because nothing beats consistency. A friendly atmosphere and steady instruction will carry you further than raw intensity that burns you out. For competitors, the standard is different. You need partners who push you, challenge you, and test you under pressure. A competitor without strong training partners is like a sword left in its sheath. It never gets sharpened. The right academy will have people just ahead of you and just behind you. The ones ahead pull you forward, and the ones behind remind you to refine your teaching and understanding. Both are necessary. Choosing partners wisely is also a skill. Some people bring energy, focus, and purpose to the mat. Others bring chaos, ego, or carelessness. Gordon often talks about managing this balance. Train with people who push you but do not break you. People who test your limits but respect them. If you roll only with weaker partners, you never grow. If you roll only with stronger ones, you may break down before you build up. The mix is what matters. There is also value in training with lower belts. It may feel like a waste to some, but it forces you to refine control without relying on speed or strength. Teaching in those rounds makes your own understanding sharper. For competitors, these rounds give you a chance to try new ideas with less risk. While for hobbyists, they build a sense of leadership and responsibility that strengthens the community. The truth is simple. The room you choose will either accelerate your growth or quietly hold you back. Culture is contagious. If the people around you are lazy, distracted, or careless, that will rub off on you. If they are disciplined, curious, and supportive, you will naturally rise with them. Building the right room is not just about geography. It is about values, habits, and the kind of training partners you surround yourself with. Chapter 4. Pressure. Testing methodology. Training without pressure is like rehearsing a play without ever stepping onto the stage. Everything feels smooth when the lights are off, but the first time the audience arrives, you forget your lines. Gordon makes the point that pressure testing is where confidence is really born, because it forces you to prove that what works in comfort also works in chaos. Many people train only in easy conditions. They roll when they are fresh. They choose partners they can handle. They stop when things get tough. It feels good in the moment, but it builds no trust. Pressure testing flips this. You start in hard spots. You let someone stronger or faster attack you. You put yourself in situations where failure is possible, because that is the only way to discover what holds up and what collapses. The goal is not to break yourself, but to stretch yourself. You don't throw yourself into battles you cannot survive. You start with challenges just outside your comfort zone, and you grow from there. It's like lifting weights. You don't begin with the heaviest bar in the gym, but you do pick one that makes your muscles work. Each time you succeed under pressure, your mind stores it as proof. Later, when stress returns, your body already knows how to answer. This kind of practice also removes the ego. If you only train to win in the gym, you hide your weaknesses. Pressure testing forces you to face them. You tap, you fail, you learn. You treat them as fuel. Each loss in training is an investment in future confidence. For hobbyists, this can be as simple as letting a partner start in a strong position and practicing calm until you find your way out. For competitors, it might mean starting in the exact scenario you fear most. and repeating it until it no longer feels dangerous. Either way, the lesson is the same. Real trust in yourself comes only after you prove you can survive when things are stacked against you. Pressure testing turns hope into certainty. Without it, confidence is just talk. With it, confidence is unshakable, because you are no longer guessing, you know. Chapter 5: Competition Game Plan and Tape Study. When people think about preparing for competition, they often picture endless hours of sparring and drilling. But Gordon explains that the mental side of preparation is just as important. A game plan gives direction. It is not about predicting every second of a match. It is about knowing where you want to go when things get messy. Without a plan, you drift. With a plan, you guide the action toward the places you already trust. The beauty of a game plan is in its simplicity. It doesn't need to be 10 steps long or filled with complicated sequences. In fact, the simpler it is, the more powerful it becomes. When nerves hit, your mind cannot juggle endless details, but it can remember 2 or 3 clear ideas. Start in this way, move toward this area, finish with this approach. A game plan works like a compass. Even when the storm is raging, it points you back to where you are strongest. Building this plan starts with honesty. You do not begin by studying your opponent. You begin by studying yourself. What areas feel safe? Where do you always manage to regain control? Which actions give you momentum? These are the anchors of your plan. Competitors might map this out for a tournament, but even hobbyists can benefit. Going into a training round with a plan, something as simple as I will focus on staying calm under pressure, or I will try to reach my favorite position, gives structure to the session and turns a random practice into purposeful practice. Tape study adds another layer. When you study opponents, you are not trying to guess their secrets. You are looking for habits they cannot hide. Some people stall when they are tired. Some explode at the beginning and fade later. Some always grip the same way. Some always retreat to the same corner. These habits are like fingerprints. They show up again and again. Once you notice them, you can plan around them. You can steer the match into the situations where they are weakest and you are strongest. Just as important is studying yourself. Many athletes avoid watching their own footage because it feels uncomfortable. But it is the fastest way to see the truth. You might realize that you always stop moving at the same moment, or that you lose focus when fatigue sets in. These details are invisible in the middle of a round, but they stand out clearly on video. By facing them honestly, you gain the power to change them. For hobbyists, this could be as simple as recording a single round and noticing one thing to improve. For competitors, it may involve breaking down entire matches and creating strategies for future opponents. In both cases, the goal is the same: to replace guesswork with clarity. When you know what really happens, you can prepare with confidence. The truth is that nothing improves your understanding faster than watching yourself or studying the matches of professional athletes in detail. These give you the patterns you often miss in the middle of a round, or in technical instructionals that are only explanatory, where you cannot see if the ideas will actually hold up under pressure. That is why, on my Patreon, I post exclusive breakdowns of high-level matches you won't find on YouTube, full guides that turn complex concepts into clear steps, and personal reviews of people's own rolling or competition footage. I also share free daily tips, so you always have something practical to use right away. If that sounds useful, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. Chapter 6: Off-mat support, strength, conditioning, and recovery. Training on the mat is where skill is sharpened, but Gordon is clear that the body and mind cannot carry that training without strong support away from the mat. What you do when you are not rolling determines how much you can handle when you are. Many athletes think improvement is about adding more and more rounds, But in reality, progress comes from the balance between stress and recovery. Too little stress and you never grow. Too much stress and you break. The art is finding the middle ground where the body is pushed but also rebuilt. Strength work matters because it creates a base. The mat teaches movement, timing, and technique. But without physical preparation, you are asking a tired frame to carry too heavy a load. Gordon often points out that strength does not mean lifting the heaviest weight you can find. It means building a body that supports the way you train. Simple, consistent strength training builds joints that are harder to injure, grips that last longer, and a core that stays steady even when fatigue arrives. For a hobbyist, this might be just 2 short sessions a week of basic movements done with care. For a competitor, it might mean structured programs with a coach. The principle is the same. You build a body that allows you to train with less risk and compete with more stability. Conditioning is equally important. You do not need to run marathons, but you need an engine that does not quit when rounds pile up. Many athletes think conditioning is only about pushing harder, but Gordon explains that smart conditioning is about pacing yourself. You need to be able to recover quickly in between rounds, breathe steadily when the pace changes, and control your body even when your lungs are screaming. A strong engine does not only let you fight longer, it gives you the calmness to think when others panic. For hobbyists, this can mean a simple cardio routine outside class or adding intensity to warm-ups. For competitors, it can be intervals designed to mimic the flow of a match. Either way, the goal is not punishment, it is preparation. Recovery is where all of the training becomes real. Every hard session creates small damage, and recovery is how that damage turns into strength. Gordon emphasizes that recovery is not something you do only when you are hurt. It is something you weave into your routine every day. Sleep is the most powerful tool you have, and too many athletes ignore it. 8 hours of quality sleep builds more skill than an extra hour of tired drilling. Nutrition also plays its role. You don't need a perfect diet, but you do need fuel that lets your body repair itself instead of dragging through fatigue. Even simple habits like drinking enough water, stretching a little before bed, or taking short walks to loosen the body can add up to years of extra training. The real secret is that these off-mat habits protect your time. Without them, injuries and burnout steal months or years from your journey. With them, you keep showing up week after week, year after year. Gordon's own career shows this clearly. He is known for his skill, but behind that skill is careful preparation. He lifts, he conditions, he pays attention to his body, and he recovers with discipline. That is why he can train at such a high level without constantly breaking down. For hobbyists, this means respecting the body enough to keep it healthy so that you can enjoy training for decades instead of burning out after a few years. It means knowing that one missed night of sleep can affect how sharp you feel on the mat. It means stretching after class, not because you want to, but because it keeps tomorrow easier. For competitors, it means treating recovery with the same seriousness as drilling. It means scheduling sleep, nutrition, and active rest the same way you schedule practice, because every edge matters when the margin of victory is small. There is also a mental side to recovery. The brain gets tired just like the muscles do. Constant stress, constant thinking, constant noise. This wear you down. Gordon talks about building routines that let the mind reset. It could be reading, walking, or simply taking time away from screens. When the mind rests, the body follows. When the mind is overloaded, the body stumbles. True preparation means caring for both. Support off the mat is not glamorous. Nobody cheers for how many hours you slept. Nobody congratulates you for drinking water. But these quiet choices are the foundation that allows the visible achievements to happen. You cannot separate them. Technique without strength breaks. Strength without recovery burns out. Recovery without consistency never builds momentum. All three work together. And when they do, your progress feels steady instead of fragile. The lesson is simple but powerful. Take care of yourself away from the mat, and the mat will take care of you. If you ignore these things, you may improve for a short time, but eventually, fatigue, injury, or burnout will stop you. If you respect them, you build a body and mind that can carry you through a lifetime of growth. Chapter 7. The Competition Timeline. Confidence does not appear on the day of competition by accident. It is built through a timeline that stretches back weeks before the event. Gordon explains that preparation is not just about the training you do, but about when and how you do it. Each stage before a competition carries its own purpose, and understanding this timeline keeps you from peaking too early or arriving unprepared when it matters most. 1 month out, the work is still heavy. This is the period where you sharpen your tools and strengthen your weaknesses. You test yourself in hard rounds. You place yourself in uncomfortable situations so you can collect proof that you will carry into the match. The focus here is on building confidence through experience. If you want to fix a hole in your game, this is the time to do it. If you want to experiment with a new idea, this is the time to test it. But Gordon is clear. You do not try to build an entirely new game 1 month out. You refine what you already know and start shaping it into the plan you will use. 1 week out, the focus changes. The body cannot handle the same intensity forever. This is where you start to taper. Instead of chasing exhaustion, you chase sharpness. You want to feel light, fast, and focused. You still train, but the goal is no longer to add new skills. The goal is to arrive fresh. This is also the time to tighten your plan. You look at your notes, your tape, and your habits, and you choose the small details you want to trust. By now, you should not be guessing. You should know what your first steps will be, where you want the match to go, and what your response will be if things do not start in your favor. The day before the event, Gordon stresses calmness. Many athletes panic at this stage. They replay the match in their minds 100 times. They feel doubt rising. They second guess their preparation. But the truth is that all the real work is already done. Nothing you do the day before will transform you, but everything you do can either help you feel rested or leave you drained. Eat well, sleep enough. Spend time with people who keep you grounded. This is not the time to prove anything. It is the time to relax and trust the path you already walked. On the day of competition itself, the key is rhythm. Nervous energy is natural, but routine keeps it in check. Gordon talks about the importance of warm-ups. Your body already knows what to do. Warm-ups are about reminding yourself of that fact. The stretches, the drills, the movements, they tell your brain, I am ready. The more you keep this routine familiar, the calmer you feel. Competition anxiety is common, but Gordon points out that it loses its grip once you see it for what it is. Nerves are not a sign that you are weak. They are a sign that you care. Everyone feels them. The difference is in how you respond. Do you let them shake you, or do you let them sharpen you? Breathing slowly, moving deliberately, focusing on the first action instead of the whole match. These are ways to turn nerves into fuel. For hobbyists, this timeline may look different. Maybe you do not compete on a big stage, but you might have a test for your next belt, or even just a hard open mat that feels like a personal challenge. The same principles apply. Prepare weeks out by practicing with intent. Ease off a little as the day approaches so you arrive fresh. The night before, rest instead of worrying. On the day, keep your rhythm and focus on the first step. For competitors, the details become sharper. The month out is where camps peak. The week out is where strategies are refined. The day before is for cutting weight carefully, resting, and controlling the mind. The day off is about hitting the same routine every time so your body knows exactly what to do. By repeating this timeline again and again, the body and mind learn to trust the process. Confidence becomes the natural outcome. The lesson is clear. Competition is not decided only on the mat. It is decided in the weeks, the days, and the hours before the first grip is taken. If you treat each stage with respect, you arrive not just ready, but steady. The timeline is your ally, and when you follow it, you step onto the mat with calmness already built into you. Chapter 8. Handling adversity. No matter how well you prepare, adversity will find you. Gordon is clear about this. Injuries, losses, bad days, outside stress, they are all part of the path. The difference between people who grow and people who quit is not whether adversity arrives, but how they respond when it does. Confidence and success are built in the moments when things do not go your way. When people lose, they often hear the phrase, "You either win or you learn." Gordon doesn't treat that as a slogan. He treats it as a rule. Loss is a teacher that cannot be ignored. If you turn away from it, you repeat the same mistakes. If you face it, you uncover the exact points that need attention. Instead of asking, "Why did I fail?" you ask, "What can I fix?" And then you take that answer into training. This simple shift keeps a loss from becoming permanent. Injuries are another form of adversity. They test patience more than skill. Gordon himself has dealt with serious injuries, and he shows that the key is to see recovery as part of training, not as lost time. If you treat an injury only as absence, it eats at you. If you treat it as a phase of growth, you use the time to study tape, to strengthen other areas of your body, or to refine mental habits. Recovery then becomes investment, not waste. Hobbyists face this too. Even a small injury can feel discouraging, but the choice remains the same. You either see it as the end, or you use it as a chance to build something new. Adversity also comes in the form of everyday life. Stress from work, school, or family can weigh just as heavily as a tough opponent. Gordon explains that discipline is the anchor in these times. When outside pressures rise, the habit of showing up to train, even for a short session, can be the difference between drifting and staying grounded. Discipline doesn't mean pushing through everything blindly. It means keeping the rhythm alive, so you don't lose yourself when things feel unstable. For hobbyists, adversity often shows up as doubt. You may ask yourself if you are too old, too busy, or too inexperienced to keep going. The answer is that everyone feels this at some point. Confidence is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to move forward anyway. Every time you show up on a hard day, you teach yourself that you can keep going. That lesson is stronger than any technique. For competitors, adversity often arrives in the form of setbacks in performance, a bad tournament, a mistake under the lights. Gordon stresses that these are not signals to quit. They are checkpoints. They force you to step back, look at your preparation, and adjust. Adversity is a mirror that shows you what is missing. If you avoid it, you never see the truth. If you embrace it, you improve faster than the people who hide from it. The most powerful thing about adversity is that it changes how you see yourself. Easy days do not tell you much. Hard days reveal your character. If you can breathe through pain, accept a loss with honesty, or stay steady when life feels heavy, you build a kind of trust in yourself that no win can give. You stop asking, "Am I capable?" and you start answering, "I have proof that I am." Handling adversity is not glamorous. It is often quiet, frustrating, and lonely, but it is in these moments that real growth happens. Gordon shows that if you stay disciplined, treat setbacks as lessons, and keep moving forward, adversity becomes fuel instead of fire. It shapes you into someone who cannot be broken easily, and that is a strength far greater than any single victory. Chapter 9. Funding the Athletic Lifestyle. One of the most overlooked parts of chasing improvement is money. People imagine that success is only about training harder, but Gordon points out that none of it works if you cannot support the lifestyle behind it. Myths are free in the imagination, but in real life, they come with rent, travel, food, and recovery. Athletes who ignore this reality often burn out, not because their skills fail, but because their resources run dry. For hobbyists, funding the lifestyle may be simple. You might already have a career outside the gym, and training is what you do after work. But even then, there are costs, membership fees, travel to seminars, new gear, tournament entry fees. They add up quickly. Without a plan, frustration creeps in. 1 month, you train hard. The next month, you cannot afford to compete. The rhythm breaks. Gordon stresses that stability matters more than occasional splurges. It is better to budget wisely and train consistently than to overextend and have to step away for long stretches. For competitors, the challenge is larger. Training full-time means less space for a traditional job. You need income that fits the lifestyle. Some teach classes, some take private lessons, some create instructional or online content. Others rely on sponsors. Gordon himself turned his skills into a career by building an audience, teaching, and competing at the highest level. But he reminds people that this path is not instant. It takes time to build recognition. It takes discipline to turn training into a brand. Funding the lifestyle also means making trade-offs. Nights out, expensive habits, distractions. These all take from the same pool of energy and money that training requires. Every choice is a vote for what matters most. If you want to reach the highest level, those choices become sharper. Travel for tournaments means missing other events. Investing in recovery tools means skipping luxury elsewhere. The balance is personal, but the principle is universal. You cannot have everything, so choose the things that push you forward. Hobbyists may not need sponsorships, but the same principle applies. If training is important, it must find its place in the budget. You don't need the newest gear every month. You need stability. The shoes, the rash guards, the supplements, none of them matter as much as showing up every week. Gordon emphasizes that consistency is the true luxury. If you can keep walking into the room year after year, you will grow beyond many people who started with more talent but less stability. Funding is also about time, not just money. A person with more free hours may need less financial support. A person with less time may need to pay for convenience. Closer gyms, healthier food that saves cooking time, recovery tools that shorten the gap between sessions. Seeing time and money as resources that trade with each other helps you design a lifestyle you can maintain. The deeper message is that honesty is required. You must be honest about what you can afford, about how much you can work without losing recovery, about how much you can push before life outside the gym begins to crack. Many athletes ignore this until it is too late. They burn out not from training itself, but from the hidden pressure of trying to sustain a life they cannot afford. Gordon's lesson is simple. Build your foundation strong enough to hold your ambition. Funding the athletic lifestyle is not glamorous. Few people see it, but it is what allows the glamorous moments to exist at all. If you manage it well, you can keep training, keep competing, and keep building. If you neglect it, the journey ends early. Stability is strength, and in the long run, it matters as much as any skill you practice on the mat. Chapter 10. Daily Protocol and Closing Framework. All of the lessons so far, confidence, goals, training partners, pressure, planning, recovery, adversity, and even lifestyle, become powerful only when you can live them day by day. Gordon shows that success is not built in huge leaps, but in steady routines. The real secret is a daily protocol, a set of simple actions repeated until they feel automatic. These routines are not dramatic. They are quiet, sometimes boring, but they are the backbone of long-term progress. A daily protocol starts with intention. You do not step on the mat without knowing what you are working on. Each session has a focus, even if it is small. Maybe you are practicing calm when tired. Maybe you are fixing your posture in one position. Maybe you are sharpening one finish you trust. Without this intent, training becomes random. With it, every round serves a purpose. The second piece is honest exposure to pressure. At least part of your session should test you. This does not mean every round must be a war, but it means you face moments where you can fail. By doing this regularly, you teach yourself to respond instead of panic. Each day adds another small piece of proof, and proof is what builds real confidence. The third piece is reflection. After the session, you do not simply leave and forget. You take a moment to notice what happened. Maybe you write a note. Maybe you think of one adjustment for tomorrow. The point is not to record everything. It is to capture the detail that will push you forward. Over time, these small notes become a map of your growth. The final piece is repetition. You return the next day and run the same loop again. Intent, pressure, reflection. Over weeks and months, this cycle shapes your skill and your mindset. It makes confidence natural because you have lived the proof. It makes competition calm because you have rehearsed the feeling 100 times. It makes setbacks manageable because you have a routine to fall back on. For hobbyists, this daily framework may be simple. Choose a focus, face it, and take a small note before you leave. For competitors, it may include deeper planning, film study, and preparation for upcoming events. But in both cases, the heart of it is the same, a steady routine that repeats until it becomes who you are. The closing framework is straightforward. Every day, ask yourself 3 questions. What is today's focus? Did I put myself under enough pressure to test it? What one change will I make tomorrow? If you can answer these questions honestly, you are walking the path Gordon lays out. You are building proof, collecting calm, and shaping a mindset that carries far beyond the mat. Progress is not mysterious. It is the result of small steps, taken daily, without skipping, without rushing, without waiting for motivation. This is how Gordon built his own foundation, and it is how you can build yours. Quiet, steady work, intent, pressure, reflection, repetition. It sounds simple, and it is, but it is also powerful enough to carry you from the training room to the highest stage. Conclusion and final ratings. We have walked through the full arc of Gordon Ryan's The Sport of Kings, and the message is clear. Mindset is not a gift. It is a skill you build. Confidence comes from proof. Goals give you direction. The right partners shape you. Pressure creates trust. Game plans and tape study bring clarity. Recovery protects you. The competition timeline guides you to peak at the right moment. Funding supports you. And the daily protocol makes it all real. None of these stand alone. They fit together like gears in a machine. And when you follow them, you carry a structure that keeps you steady, even when things feel uncertain. So the question remains, is it worth $150? For hobbyists, the answer is yes, with limits. You will learn habits that make training easier to follow, tools to stay consistent, and ways to calm your mind. But some sections, like competition prep, may not matter as much if you only roll for fun. For that reason, the rating for hobbyists is 7 out of 10. A strong and useful resource if you want guidance, but not essential if you are training casually. For competitors and coaches, the value rises sharply. The lessons on pressure, the planning methods, the tape study approach, the competition timeline, and the way Gordon explains adversity are all things that can directly change results on the mat. These are not background lessons. They are tools you can use right now. For competitors and coaches, the rating is 8.5 out of 10. Not flawless, because no single course can give you everything, but an excellent source of structure and mindset that multiplies the work you are already doing. The final takeaway is that the Sport of Kings is not about giving you more moves. It is about teaching you how to make the moves you already know work under pressure. If you want techniques, look elsewhere. If you want a framework that helps you turn practice into results, this course is worth the investment. So the final ratings stand: hobbyists 7 out of 10, competitors and coaches 8.5 out of 10. A course that shows you how to trust your preparation, respect your time, and step onto the mat with calmness built into you. If you enjoyed this review and you want to go deeper, the best place to do that is on my Patreon. That's where I post the breakdowns I cannot share on YouTube, full guides that turn complex ideas into clear steps, and even personal reviews of people's own rolling or competition footage. I also share free daily tips, so you always have something small and practical to take into training. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. And if you found value here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell so future videos find you automatically.